Alright, so as Dan said, this is just the smart board display and the learning suite online, kind of a collaboration. So like I was telling the first couple of people that came in, when we got these boards 3 years ago, it was exciting. It was like, awesome, great, we're losing our projector, and then we have all this thing we can do with it, and then just to find out that we couldn't do what it could do because of the network restrictions. But since then, I think they've opened up the pathways with the network so we can kind of use it for its full functionality. So I was excited. That was about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, that Dan came and told me to try it again, and this time around it worked a whole lot better. So the way I kind of am doing this morning is basically just facilitating. All of you guys have a smart board or another similar to this, and if not, you can kind of see how I use it and how each other use it, right? So that's the main thing today. It's just a collaboration. I think I want you to know that I'm not officially trained in this. I just have done what I've been able to, and then I was going to share it with you, and then I would be excited to see what you guys are doing with it that maybe I can take also, right? So let's just start by using this. If you can log on to your device and go to this website, hellosmart.com, and then join Johnson at 281-309, that would be great. So this is the way I finally started using it. I was not able to do this 3 years ago, so now I am, and now you can also. So if you did have a device that you brought, a laptop, phone, you can join us there at hellosmart.com. And if not, you can just relax too. So
Are we signing in with just our normal account?
yeah.
With their Google account, right?
Yeah, with your Google account. And if you don't have one, you can probably sign in as guests.
There we, on that.
It's pretty fast, I just did it this morning to get the account through that, what Dan had sent a couple weeks ago. Never mind, just do it. The smart,
You're going in as a student right now.
I'm going as a guest. Yeah, there you go. And if you don't have an account, just join as a guest, that's fine too. And then to the left, my left, the board's this side. You can kind of see the kids, or you guys are coming in. So I've got Eric, Jill, Michaela, Mr. Cravens, Mrs. Johnson. And yeah, you don't need to have an account. You can sign in as guests. You're good.
Perfect, yes.
And then it will say, hey, hi, Mrs. Johnson, and so on. Are you able to get in? Morning. Morning.
Am I gonna be in the way if I sit here?
The only
Going on a smart one too.
hiccup I've had with kids logging in with me on Hello Smart is that when kids come in late, it's hard to get them back onto the same activity. So, but I think we should be good for now. So Kunal, we're just getting onto there. Okay.
So you're not, he signed into your account, I can
He's
see.
signed into your account, aren't you, but it's just my board?
Right,
Is
I'm
that
signed
right?
into my account, but I'm using her board. That's why it says join Johnson.
And is that what you said Dan sent you to join an account, to make an account?
Yeah, cause at first when I read that, I thought it was just my normal smart account, and then I read it again, and it's
The
so that you can get Google into your smart board, right?
Not necessarily,
but-
no.
But you can, right?
You can, yeah.
Yes,
And OneDrive.
and, yeah,
Right.
it's all your files.
Alright,
Do you
so I
have
got
that?
Mr. Kunal. I think I got everybody in. So
I'm gonna
then,
forward something to you.
from here, we just get going. And you can make this teacher paste or student paste. And like, I could be doing this, training, if I was at KMS and you were here, you could still kind of join it. So if you had remote kids, that would be one thing that this is useful for. Right? So then we are all together on this board. I got 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
She isn't doing it, I don't think.
Okay. Let me sound off again. I got Eric, Michaela, Mr. Cravens, Mr. Haxon, Mr. Johnson, Steve, Tracy. Jill, you were in earlier.
Oh, yeah? Am I not there anymore?
No?
I got to,
Oh, because you're logged in as you again.
oh, should I not be
Yeah.
logged in? I don't know.
Go back in as a guest. Because,
Oh, it won't let me be
right,
on. Oh,
because
okay.
when you log in, you go in as a teacher like Steve did, and not you
Okay.
did. That's okay. Do that one, yep.
This
Just go
one?
to
Oh
me.
gosh, I just left as well. You just left as well? And me too.
Okay.
Alright, there we go.
I won't mess with it now.
I
Now
know.
I've got,
You lost me.
I've got. Did I?
It says she's on
I
there,
still
but.
see you in there. We good? Alright, and then, kind of like when you're teaching this to students, this is kind of the same thing that happens, kind of troubleshoot as you go. Once the initial novelty of it wears off, the kids are good with it. I mean, the first time we tried it, I was like, pulling hair like, hey, come on, stop touching things, so. Now we're all together. Alright, so, you guys should see this on your screen.
Have you started sharing?
Thank you. Now?
Yep.
Alright, so this is the collaboration again. I wanna learn from you as much as I wanna share with you, and let's just go from there. Some of the things I show you might not be useful in your area. Some of the things you show us might be useful in what we can do, in what we're doing, alright?
Jason, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make a PowerPoint and then morph this over here, or
Right.
did you? Okay.
Yes. The neat thing about this is you can take the PowerPoints that you have and just upload them and make them interactive. PDFs work the same as well, so that's kind of nice. And then I had slides actually, I just downloaded as PowerPoint and then turned it into this. So then this is teacher pace and we go together, so your screen should look like mine, right? Alright, perfect, it's working. So again, this is a collaborative experience. I'm just here to share mine, and I've not been following the trend. Be patient, show grace, and let's be better together. And my outline this morning, well, we have till 9 o'clock. I think we will go until, you guys are comfortable with what I have, and, we'll go through that, because otherwise we'll just use it to plan and kind of play with this, see what you can do with it, right? So, how do you use it? How do you want to use it? And then I want to go over the Learning Suite Online. What are some useful functions that I've been able to use? Because this is the newest thing, is the Learning Suite Online. We've had the boards for 3 years, but now we have the capability to use it as it was meant to be used. So, everybody good? Alright. So this is the Shout It Out. This is great for starting kind of just for kids to shout out their answers and pop it up to the board. First question I have for you, what are some ways that you use the Smart Display Board? And I've limited you to 3 responses, so if you could humor me and put it down on there. What are some ways that you use the Smart Board? One is 2 is good, and as you're shouting them out, some people have been doing interactive math and phonics lesson, and just as a whiteboard to write student assignments, labs, in order to assist them with their work. as an extended monitor for students to follow along with my lesson. So some quizzes. Here's a longer one. Sharing information, notes, integrate diagrams, videos into the concept, map notes, show students where things might be located. So all of this is being projected up to here from your devices, and I've made it so that you can't see who's saying what, right? So somebody maybe is just like a little flower, another device for student use, but you can definitely, on my end as a teacher, you can see who's posting these. You can also make it so that you see the names of who's posting it, because you'll have
On
those
that
kids.
machine over there, when you go look, you'll, on,
Well,
where
it'll
you
be,
see
it'll be
it
over
at.
here, right? I can see who's posting them, so you can't just have some goofball saying,
But you can't while they're up there.
say it again?
You can't while they're up there, you have to open up the share.
Right,
If you have them hidden, you can
right.
also.
If I have them hidden, then I would have to kind of fix that up, but, if I was extended to my computer, it'd be a little bit easier for me to see, but since I'm using this standalone, and I've already designed it so that it hides your names for this one, so. Anyways, but I think these are great. This is the very basic, this is what, as a projector, basically, I thought that's what I was replacing 3 years ago and then more. But for the past 3 years, it's just been a projector without being blinded, so that was great. Highlighting,
I'm the one
underlining.
that responded that.
I think these are great uses for these. I don't think there's any wrong way that you could use it, so. And then with that, we can move on to the useful smart display functions. It eliminates a separate projector, clear HD display and video with sounds. I think that's what they tried to sell me on there, on why I should change my Promethean to this, was that, it's, and it is, but it's also a little bit smaller. Multi-touch screen, this is something that I've started using, allowing the kids to come up together instead of one by one. And then the pen and the eraser functions. I understand some newer ones don't have the eraser functions, but you can still erase it with your whole hand, which is kind of great. The standalone function that it is, when I was gone for paternity leave for a week and a half, my sub was able to use my board with my instructions. She didn't need a computer, so she could just access the stuff I had on here when I logged it in for her, and she was good with it. So that's a good thing from it. The computer extension, I think somebody said that also, to just extend your screen basically. And then this is something new that allows us to do it this time around, the screen casting capabilities that I really wanted to use for when we first got it, that we couldn't because, again, the network. I'm just gonna keep going back to that, but I will move on from it. The kids, when I was gone again, I thought it'd be too much for my sub to handle to have them share the presentation, but it wasn't too difficult. They were able to take their Chromebooks, put it right here, and then wirelessly connect to the board and control it from here, and then present their information. And then they sat down, the next person came, did the same thing, and it was very quick. But you don't have to do that either, though. You can go wired in for students if you use a HD. The thing with that, though, is you would have to use both cables if you wanted them to touch the board too. But anyways, I don't know. I think for the high school level, junior high level, presentations, you guys probably do some, or a lot of, maybe?
I've screencasted from my iPad to the board before. We were doing like probability and odds, and so we played Deal or No Deal. So like I opened up the Deal or No Deal app on my iPad and screencasted it when we
Right.
played that game.
Sweet.
So you can do it not just from Chromebooks.
Right, yeah, it can be, definitely, from any device, so, good, so some of you've been using it, that's great. And then the next part's just another response. This time, I just want you to think about your screen change at all?
No, it did, it's good.
Oh, perfect. Just some quick questions.
in the quiz, did you just use canned pictures, or did you have to search them and have them downloaded first, or could you?
Right, good question. You could, the pictures that you see on those questions came straight from Bing. So when you're
Okay.
creating this, you can search for images and it goes directly in.
Okay, so you don't have to download all of them and.
Right.
Okay.
I understand your question. I've had to do that for some of these before, so I'm glad I didn't have to. So we got 92% completed. So this is kind of a neat, get a feel for how the class is doing. I think I gave you a set of true or false questions. Might have been a couple of multiple choice. And then, so when it's 100%, then you can go over it as a class. This is great for for some things, like when they're learning math processes in the 5th grade that I use this, and you can kind of see the results. Smart displays, I don't really make the whole class smarter. A couple of you thought so, and you know what? Whatever it takes.
Makes the teacher smarter.
Something like that. So everybody basically eliminated the use for projectors. Only one person, right? So now you can have more than one. Multi-touch. I always thought all of them were multi-touch. I was wrong in that apparently. But now I'm able to use it and it's working. It does support HD materials. You always need an electronic pen. I think the older model you did, but these newer ones you can use your hands and fingers. The writing part is tough without the pens, but everything else you can do by hand. It can be standalone. We've talked about that. Good. So you got to pay attention. Be more effective. Yep. And there it is. So here's that first one that we had some different opinions on, right? Then we go on to the next part. Another response. So this I want to just get a feel for, how do you want to be able to use it? You told me how you've been using it. What would help you make it be better? What would help your teaching be more effective? So for this one, this response, as you type in, it kind of starts showing up there.
You have more than 25 characters.
Ooh, getting the pen to work.
And it did say with, and then it changed.
And then the new ones are even better.
Yeah, I went with the.
I love a bigger one, like bigger.
We're pretty set on everything. Convert lesson
Especially when
slides,
you're
interactive
in
with
that
students,
spot.
engage students, utilize lesson assessments. I think those are all, ooh, this I just started discovering, the converting handwritten notes. It can also, I was watching a video on it, when you're doing mathematical equations, you're able to also convert it to numbers. And then I just started looking into this, but you could even have it solve it. So it's kind of a neat thing. So you write like a quadratic formula, and then you convert it to numbers, and then you tell it to solve it, and it solves it. I'm not really good with it yet, because I'm not, we do 5 times 12 in the 6th grade, so I can do that.
You're good with 5 times 12, right?
Right.
Does it solve?
75, right? So, I think these are all great. I think this is something that we can, start working on a little bit today. Some, troubleshooting on the working pens, I think I've seen that kind of happened a little bit, that the pen's not working the way you want it to, and it's a little bit wonky. And I think it's all a bit wonky when you first start with it. Even making this stuff, I was wonky with it, and I'm not yet the best at it, but I think I'm getting better as I keep using it, right? So, the overview, everybody has answered it, and then you can make it into word cloud to kind of start seeing it a little bit with the responses, but I think those are all good. And so, the next part are the pros and cons of using this smart display that I want to get you to. This will be our last one like this. What are some pros and cons that you see with it? You told me how you've used it and how you want to use it. I know the pen thing, has been kind of tough, but let's share out a bit on the good of it and the things that's a little bit more challenging with it.
Jason, did Dan say that was pretty easy to get us so that we could have the access on the?
Yes, on the smart learning suite, yeah. I mean, I told him, basically he came to me and was like, hey, check this out. And I was like, what is that? I can't use that. Don't you know? The network won't do it.
Right.
I said, no, just try it. And then I started trying it, and then it told me, this is all you can make because you're not a member or you don't have a subscription. So I emailed him and was like, hey, it's great, let me use it. and then that was it. You just basically let him know, and I don't know the process for more people to access it, but for that first time, he just got it and I got in, so.
Yeah.
The main thing is all of you can use this limited. The limited part is just being able to save your content. The main thing with the subscription, basically, you can use it with the limited storage, but full functionality. You can make like 2 or 3 lessons, but with the subscription, you can make as many lessons as you want. That was the main thing.
I was thinking he said that if you got a new one, then you're automatic.
Oh.
It's already in.
Sweet.
But then if you are an old one, I was thinking he was already getting those people in on it also.
Oh, great.
But
So,
you'll check on that second one.
yeah, because I think you had logged in with your Google, and then it kicked you off of mine.
Yeah.
You can start making lessons, so.
So when you say make lessons, it's like this would be a lesson?
Right, this would be a lesson.
That you
right.
create, so if I had that with the free, I can't.
You
really-
could.
You
You
can.
could still do
Oh,
this,
I can't.
but you can just make,
You only
2
have
or
50
3.
megabytes.
Right,
So not very many.
not very many.
But you're saying you think he probably hooked her up, made a subscription for her,
Yeah.
cause she has I think maybe so too, because when I joined today, I think I have full access.
Perfect.
Oh,
So,
here's my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm thinking in terms of what has happened with video storage, Coach. If you make these and you store them on theirs, right? This has happened in other activities.
Right.
But you put your huddle on film, and then they say, oh, we're not doing that, we can't afford it this year. You can't get it.
right,
You're SOL, so.
right.
Is that similar to this, or can you then take it and like put it onto something external, or?
Good question. The thing with this is when you make it with the board, so nothing else can open whatever you make except the board. So it's not like a video where you can put it onto YouTube or other places.
Right, you can't link it to your teacher's page and say, hey, here was the lesson that we did today, you can go through it?
You can do that with this.
You can.
Yes, you can.
And
like-
they don't have to have the board.
Right.
They don't have to have the software. That was the problem with
Right.
Promethean, they didn't have Active Inspire, so you
Yes.
could push it
No.
out, but they couldn't see it or do it.
No, this one, when you move to the left side over here, when you put it as student pace, And then you can copy the link, when you're creating the lesson, and you can post it on your website or Google Classroom and tell them to go through it at their own pace. So the quizzes and the shoutouts that I've done with you, they would also do on their own. Now the trick with it is, I don't know, again, there are some things I don't know yet. Like, I don't know if I can be doing this and another kid doing it on their own pace. Does that make sense? I'm not sure on that. But as far as storage, this is basically a PowerPoint that I've plugged in and then made interactive. So I will always have the PowerPoint wherever I stored it. Now to make it interactive, the more you use it, the quicker it gets, if that makes sense. Because I don't want like every slide to be interactive like this, especially in math, you know. I like to model and show them. I don't want their responses all the time necessarily. So, and sometimes it's hard when it's just typing, but I think for English, language arts, or social studies, you know, it's great to have their ideas pop up like this. And see right here, I know, and everybody knows that Jill is the one that wrote this, right? Takes more time to get all students connected. Yes, at the beginning it does, but the more you do it again, I mean, just like with Chromebooks when they're logging in, the kids took forever to get into them, but now it's pretty quick. So, so this one sent by Mr. So usually that's the first name. So right now it's Mr. Older style, don't have the kid. So it's probably Mr. Haxton.
Yep.
Got him. So fun guess and check. Able to follow along better on the board, can highlight and underline. So I'm not gonna go over all of these, but I did this so you can see what you can do with it. Like, you can see the pros and cons and things like that, right? But there's quite a bit up there.
Do you
On
have to
both
create
sides.
your lessons on the board, or can you be at home on your computer?
This was all done on my computer, yeah.
Not the interactive part though, right?
Yes,
It
on the
was too?
computer, right. Everything was on a computer, and then I was able to access it on the standalone board. I could also be on my desk using just my computer instead of standing up here. And with COVID, I've been on the back of the room and working on my computer and showing this. So either way, I think, because it would suck if I had to, it would not be good if I had to stand and create my lessons, right? And nobody's in the room and I'm like, that's cool, making lessons. So no, you can use your computer at home to be able to do that. So kids are more engaged, students engaged, bigger display. I think it's more reliable to me. So far, in the 3 years that I've used it, I have not had any glitch as far as, you know, my sound's not working or dang, projector's not turning on, my bulb's burnt out. It hasn't happened yet. But I was looking at them and they have like a certain amount of life cycle on it, so it will die eventually. But so far for 3 years, it's been great. All right, we're gonna keep moving on. So this next part is now I'm gonna go over the Smart Learning Suite, the online functions. Now if you were paying attention to these, I think I got a couple of quotes on there. Do not confine your children to your own learning, for they were born another time. I just thought those were good stuff, useful. Here are the things that I've been able to do. Import your notebook. The notebook is basically the smart, how many of you guys use Notebook? Yeah, all right. So if you make a lesson on Notebook, Notebook is basically the software that Smartboard uses. So if you make Notebook lessons or you have like notes on Notebook, you can just upload it and make it like this. PowerPoints and PDFs. PDFs have been great for me because the kids in math, we use a lot of the worksheets, you know, that I send home. Even their workbooks, I turn into PDFs and then it can be uploaded to this. Each slide can be made interactive. Collaboration. This, I have been realizing what it actually means for collaboration to take place in a classroom with the students. It's been great. It's been doing what I imagined it could do, for me anyways. The instant feedback, where I can tell them on that, like, hey, you got this one wrong, and they won't have to know who it was that got it. Teacher or student pacing is great. There's already pre-made stuff like graphic organizers. I'm already there, like the pros and cons. There's like a web, all kinds of graphic organizers they already have for you. And then there's also various interactive activities I'll go over here in a little bit. And when I say it syncs well with Google, I actually doesn't sync all that well. It's just-
I knew there was a catch.
I know what I was thinking about that, but it does sync with your Google Drive. You can access Google Drive files, but then when I look at what that meant, it basically just opened a window that you could see your Google Drive files. That was it. But you can access those easily, so that was good. So scratch this one. It's smart.
Hey Jason, on the
Yeah.
PDF file, like if you have a worksheet that you can't pull up like from your textbook software, whatever, and you scan it in and it's a PDF, and then you can just write on it just like I would with my normal, like with my pen up there,
Right.
if I pull it up, like it's.
Yep.
Like you could pick up the pen right now and start writing.
Not on this, maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you can erase with this.
Or your big hand.
Or big hand.
Now, what happens if
The
you
kids
leave
love
that
that.
on
No
there,
way.
and you go to the next
Can you
slide
see it
and go
on your
back, does
screen?
it save or does it clear?
Do you see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Sweet. Will it save it?
Well, what I'm saying is I wouldn't want that to save, but does it?
Right. That's the thing I ran into also. It was like we did something with one class and then I started with the next class and all the answers were there for the
Yeah.
next class. So that was a bit of a hiccup. Yep, so it saved it.
Yeah.
So,
But, if you extend if you do it from your computer, it won't save, I don't think, will it?
it will. Yeah, because basically, if I was doing this on my computer, I'm doing the same thing except sitting down. The thing that I haven't quite figured out is how to reset the whole thing. You can reset each activity, but to reset the whole thing, so what I've done is just like, since I have the subscription now, I just make copies. So one's like Whacker homeroom, Masog homeroom, so I just restart from scratch.
That's what I was gonna ask, so I was gonna ask if when you run it for the next same class, math, what the second math class you have, you would either have to do what you said, make copies for each one,
Right,
or
restart each
clear,
activity.
reset each,
Yep.
and you'd have to do each individual activity.
That's what I've done. There
Right.
might be a different way to do it.
And you'd always wanna have a blank one, you'd wanna keep the
The
original,
yep.
and then have.
Yep.
So that we can always go back to it.
And I'll go over how clunky their storage is. But, what do you know about this? It's a new thing, but what do you know about it so far? About the Smart Learning Suite? You know anything, or not much at all?
Stuff other people have already created.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you could. You can. I could make a lesson and then share it with you as a teacher, and then you would have mine. Now, as far as what other teachers have created, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot. They have things that were pre-created by Smart themselves, but they're not geared towards what you're doing. Like there's stuff for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or Earth Day, or Mission to Mars. They have those kinds of things, but as far as like the long division for 5th grade, those aren't there yet. And I don't know if they'll ever get there, but.
Okay, so you know in the old school, like in your smart notebook, how you can get in and you can find those things, those activities?
Huh?
Can they be pulled into this?
Yes,
Okay.
that's how I did all this, was I pulled those in. So this is a big realization for me also. There's a lot more function than I realized. And then when I found that out, the main thing was not being overwhelmed with all the functions that is there. It's more of, how can I make what I'm teaching already, how can I add something to it to make it have more of a punch for the students? Not punch the students, but they get more engaged with it. And also it's stuff that, when I think of how to make my lessons better, I think of what can this thing do to help it make it better. And I don't want like all of the functions that it gives just because it has those functions. And I'm sure most of you are like that too. Use what is available, like ready-made activities. Many of you haven't used it yet, so I'm hoping that this will be a good starting point for a lot of you. Here's the stuff that you will see. The quick start resources. These are the 3 basic things. I know a lot of people like to use YouTube to help, drive some points across, and then when you can use that. The problem with the YouTube one is that sometimes you YouTube videos, the settings are, you know, standalone, you can only watch it on YouTube, so it won't play it on this. But it gives you a link at the bottom to go to YouTube and it'll allow you to watch it. And here's what I was talking about earlier, the PowerPoint, notebook, and PDF. And then if you just want a new page, like the other day we were working on a PDF together, and one of the kids asked a question about, what if this happens? Then I just started a new page, which is this plus button, and then we could work on this together. Like this pops up, you can do any of the graphic organizer. So this is as you go, you can do it. Like you don't have to be tied into the lesson that you already made. You can make as you go also, like this. Right, so now we have this whiteboard that I can show you and model for you, kind of what's happening. So, at one point, I think there's a way that I can make it interactive also, but I don't remember everything right now. Anyways, these are the three main things that are very powerful, and then the next three are these. And as I'm going up here, you should also be seeing there, right? So if I didn't have this board on and you weren't looking up here, I could just run it from my computer and they would have their devices, and you would still be able to see what I'm seeing. Shout it out. That's the very basic of being able to give the kids, you know, those that don't really want to raise their hand and say things, they can do it now. Or if they don't want to be wrong, you know, math answers, they go ahead and put it in anyways. And then response, that was that little quiz that I gave you with 8 questions. The game-based activities, this is the one that I'm kind of messing around with a little bit more, experimenting with and seeing which ones I'm able to use in math. So, alright, we're almost through here. And here are some pre-made resources. You know, they give you like the, you know, what do you know about this thing? Prior knowledge stuff, questioning, reflection, manipulatives, graphic organizers. The manipulatives I haven't been able to use a whole lot, but I would imagine it would be great for like elementary school level, when they still need to see the concrete visuals of what you're doing. You can even make your own manipulatives though, which is kind of neat. There's a cloning tool. Well, if you use base 10, you can just keep taking 1 or 10 or 100. That's kind of neat. Lots of graphic organizers, and you can, again, these are pre-made, but you can make your own if you don't like what they have. So that's the main function of the Smart Learning Suite. And so here's a workspace, collaborative workspace. So when I set it up, which one is this one? This is just a couple of examples. I think this is a collaboration. How many there's 8. Let me put us in 3 teams. So what I'm doing right now, is the collaboration part that we worked on a PDF. So there's 4, you can choose as many teams as you like, or everyone can be on the same one, right? When you're doing something together as a class, you want everybody to be on the same team. But if you, like one of our workbooks, instead of doing the whole workbook together, it splits up the monotony of just the workbook. So I allow them to work in teams. And let's say I wanted 3 teams. And then I would tell you, it puts you guys on teams, but if I don't like it, you know, I can take Michaela and put her over here if I wanted to, but these look pretty fair. And so, to start the workspace.
Based
Right.
on what? They're based on what?
Based
He
on
knows you guys will carry me.
your abilities. So then when it starts, on your screens, you should have an example worksheet that I have, right? So this is a digitized version of our workbook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. And so here's
How
what
did you do this? That's a question I'll ask. How did you make that
You see
PDF?
my hello?
Take a picture.
Yeah, on this
What?
one,
Your phone?
right, this one, I use an app on my phone called like Small Printer. And so I took my workbook.
Notes.
Yeah, right. So whatever you can make a PDF with, like if you already have pre-made PDFs, you can use those.
Sorry.
But if you don't, and here's the thing with it, right?
I just.
Here's how I teach the kids to collaborate better. I tell them, hey, choose a color except for red, because red is my color as a teacher. And so you pick your own color, but you can't, try to pick something different from your group mates, and then this is where they'll start yelling across the room, blue, I got blue, I'm red!
Huh?
Are you the one doing it
Great.
for us on here?
Yeah,
So,
this is what I've been doing for, well, how many weeks have you been doing long division?
right, 3 weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks, yeah, so good, and McKenna's doing really great, by the way. So I tell them, pick your color, but not red, cause red is mine, and then I tell them, you know what, pick a problem to solve, and then circle that problem only, so that your teammates will know that somebody's working on that problem. So not everybody's working on the same one. Does that make sense? So if somebody's already circled number 16 or 18, nobody else should work on that. This is the way I do it, but obviously you could, change it as you go.
Now, the Chromebooks aren't touchscreen, right?
No.
So it's hard to write.
It's hard to write on these little
Yeah.
control
Right.
pads.
And so here's what I tell them also, don't do the work on the computer, do the work on your notebook paper and just type the answer in, because you should have a typing text tool so people can read more of your numbers. So they're doing their work on their notebook and then they're putting the answer in on their computer, if that makes sense. And then as a teacher, I can look at each workspace. Like here's team 1, and I will say, team 1, great job on number 16. I think you got that one right. And then for on my own, I was able to mark. It won't let me mark right now.
Oh shoot, I need to erase a whole bunch of stuff.
So how'd you get things for solving this real fast?
I did that.
Oh, you did?
Right, you'll have those kids that are just like, nice work.
That's kinda neat.
But I can go through each group. If I can reach.
But this year when I haven't
You
done
go,
some of the
girl.
Collaboration, this would have been handy. Yeah, as you could-
Oh man, like, this group's like going nutso. And you have those groups that are like, and you will have one person.
Oh, I just erased someone's,
You guys are
sorry.
slackers. And then do you ever have this? This way.
So, I was able to work this before. When I do this usually from my computer, I have the same functions as you. I can do the pens and the text. So while they're solving it, I'm able to go on my computer and then mark them off as like, hey, team 2, number 18 is wrong, try it again. What is squirts?
And so you can tell what
No, it's
I
208.5
write, so when I
quarts.
write,
It's 208.5.
Right, okay, of course.
hey,
Thanks for letting us know you were red.
Alright. And then you get those kids, right, this is exactly what I had the first time I used this. The kids were drawing faces on it and then like smiling at me, and I'm like, not smiling at all, because I have a mask on, but, this is kind of a neat thing. You don't have to finish the rest of this. This was just an example I wanted to show you.
We got it though.
You like those
Alright.
emojis?
And then, this is like a feeling out. If most of the groups are getting the answers, then I stop it. I say, or when one group finishes, I tell them, hey, we're done with this one, we can go on to the actual assignment. This was our practice, right? So we'll make this be a practice. And then, as they're working, some kids get stuck, and I like check it 3 times and it's still wrong, so they come to my desk and I help solve them, I help them solve it at my desk while the rest continue working. Does that make sense? So this is what I found to be, I think, my definition of collaboration as we move forward. And then, here's this one, are you ready? This was a fun one. It was about 10, 12 questions that you and your team will answer some questions together.
we're still on the same team?
Yeah, you got this one.
Yeah, I know, I'm making sure everybody's in. This is what I do in class too, like, the bad thing about it is kids can have a tab open and be working on a separate thing as you're doing this. So I do walk around, and usually I'm in the back, like Mrs. Johnson's desk here, and I can see them if I'm using my computer. I'm like, hey, get Get that over, everyone. Wow. You know. All right, you guys ready? This is the last thing.
So we're still with our groups?
No,
Oh.
I'm gonna give you new groups.
Maybe you'll get some more people this time. Oh, no, we gotta make a lot.
All right.
Oh, you gotta have some.
Oh.
That's right.
So when I see the groups, let's say, Michaela, are you good with your group?
Sure.
Okay. And then I just started.
We are the fire breathers.
Are we supposed to just type or what? I think it's whoever gets it right first, right? I have no idea. You guys know what the first one was?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess right.
Yeah.
Well, he-
It already says it.
First one or what?
Who was it?
6 plus 9 equals 15, okay, I bet it's 15.
What? How did I miss that?
Crate critters are in the lead, but not by much. Oh,
it's-
keep trying. See. Fire breathers are on their neck.
I didn't know we were in a,
Race,
yeah.
you are. Always are.
Try to run there.
I hope you two, are you two answering them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, fire breathers are almost in the lead.
I don't even know who we are.
Yeah, they're icebreakers. Nice. Here we go. Who's gonna bust open first? Fire breathers or crate critters?
Tracy and Steve.
Crate critters got it first by a millisecond.
Yeah, that was super close.
And then so I can end it now too and say we only want the first place. But I think
Does that mean they got done first, or did they get them right?
they got the most right, got done first.
Took me a minute to process 56 I gotta picture that.
Well, you got this. Yeah, I got it.
I rounded.
So then, I mean, that'd be a good review game, and then you can look over like some of the stats. So like,
Oh, really?
Crate critters
Wait, really, we didn't get second. Really.
right,
95%
essentially,
effective.
right.
Yeah.
I know.
Same time, 95%.
I know.
Now, that doesn't make sense.
Well, if 80% is mastery, then.
Actually, in fifth grade,
We wanna see
70%,
what ours
as long as
is.
you're 70.
Can you go down?
Yeah, 88%, so, I mean,
Mine said 15 out of 50.
Michaela, I missed the one.
Oh, it's alright, it's alright.
but then
Actually, I missed one too.
You did?
you can
Yeah.
go over
Good,
like,
makes me feel better.
you can then go over the review, like, why did we miss these? Like, most of you guys got this one right.
I can tell you why I missed it, because the text moved down. I clicked, and then it moved, and I was like, oh, why am I trying to go too fast?
I don't know, if I had a penny for every kid that told me that.
You wouldn't be teaching.
I getcha. But like, then you can see which one is most missed, like this one, was a bit wonky, and then we go over it in class. And I don't go over everything, cause only the one, like all these, all you got right, so I mean, those are great. And then the ones, only few are missing, and you can kinda gauge, if you were using actual content in class, you can see which one, kids are missing, so this is one of them. That was called the monster quiz, be great for elementary, I mean,
Is
it's
that
great.
on the smart
Yeah.
suite?
Yeah.
That's
I
really
like that
cool,
one.
and I like how it kept making you go back if you missed a question.
Right, and that was the thing, so even though they got,
Yeah, you had to
I didn't know
review.
that. I missed
The
a lot of
quote- the quote
questions.
one
Math.
is the one that I
That was
missed,
big
that
math.
made me re-answer
Yeah,
it.
that's why I missed questions,
Yeah.
to see if it would do that.
so that's why even with that
Well, I missed one. I
Taking
didn't-
one
I
for
didn't
the-
cheat.
Right.
Right.
For you.
Mine was like a.
Yeah.
They also have, you can, play two monsters against each other, and I did that with the elementary kids, and they loved it because it wasn't them answering the questions.
there's the
The
monsters,
monsters were
right,
answering the
Oh.
questions, and they're like, my monster won, even though they were both monsters.
right.
So they thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's like a game show version of it, so a lot of those are more elementary, related, but the middle school is great, cause it's like we're middle, so they still love it. But I'm sure like, you know, like you guys use quizzes or Quizlet, or Kahoots, you know, it's basically a similar thing, right? If you're
The
already
high
using
school
those.
students would like that just
Yeah,
as
they will.
well.
They
Yeah,
will,
like
for
the
sure.
They like
lots,
stickers
so they're
still.
like-
Yeah,
And candy.
Oh.
I like the color.
Stickers and.
They're the same.
So that's a wrap. I'm just kidding.
That's sweet. That's right. Came to see if you guys were wrapping it up.
We are actually, is this the same one that I put down? Yeah, no. So, here are some things that I'm kinda still exploring. Are students able to keep any of the work they've done? When I make it student paced, can they access those work back again? I don't know the answer to that yet. I don't know yet. Cause there are still some things that I'm working on to see what it can still do. But for the most part, as far as collaboration and engagement, I think I'm getting there. Now, the storage part, like Kenny was asking about, you know, I'm not quite sure on it. Their storage is wonky on the site itself because they don't have folders. They just put it on by the dates you make them. And so it's like, but I don't remember what I did, March of 2021, and it's like, you know. But if you type in, I guess you just have to be really good at naming your things, cause you can search for them.
Only if you're signed in though, right?
Right.
Only if you're making it with you,
Right.
cause I haven't been signed in and been making these things. And Dan's like, you kinda need to sign in if you're gonna keep.
We
this
learn
stuff."
as we go.
Right. And that's kind of what I've been doing. And one thing I wanna keep working on is how student pacing works. Cause so far I've just been doing teacher-led as we go.
I wanted to try to
So-
put in, cause I've been writing and doing concept math, then you can bring in the diagrams and the videos and everything.
Yep, we're
Like,
back
yeah,
to the
well,
beginning.
as a PDF.
So that is what I wanted to show you, but if you wanted to see what it looks like to make these, I'm gonna fire up my computer real quick. But I mean, you guys have any questions from what you've seen? Let me,
I have a question. So I don't have one of these boards, because I travel,
right,
which I can use them on anybody who has one in the elementary classroom. But since you said you could do it from the computer, would I necessarily need a board if I create an activity and they sign into my account? Can I run that from the computer? They wouldn't see it on the screen unless I project it.
right,
But they could connect
yes, you
to
could,
a
you don't need a
Chromebook or
board.
an iPad.
You're right, you
So I
don't need
wouldn't need the
a board.
board, I would just need this.
Your computer and a
Subscription.
projector. Or, and a subscription, yes.
Right.
So,
And everybody that wants one, it's a trial now. Everybody
Right.
that wants to convert it into full, it's through Smoky Hills, we can get a really good deal. I have enough funds in the, not tech equipment, the tech, like, other stuff budget, that anybody that wants one can get one.
How long is the trial?
You all have one that, like Steve, Jason, Eric, and I think I have 2 left. It must be for probably you, somebody.
I feel like
We have a
mine-
5-year subscription that never got activated when a board was bought. We have 2 left that are 5-year subscriptions. So I would give that to some, but probably since you're moving
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
probably to you two, cause I think you guys already have accounts set up.
Mine
There,
says
um,
my free one has expired.
Okay,
so
then,
it's
right,
not-
so you're an example
I'll
that
help you. We'll
shoot me
vote.
an email, and I will get you a full
She-
license.
That she can't leave.
Right? What are you doing?
I'll make a motion on the floor.
Come on.
She's cutting our throats is what she's doing.
No.
I'm sorry if that wasn't
No,
public.
no, it is.
Okay, it's like,
It's in the
oops,
board
did I just-
minutes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Come here to capture hearts and to
I'm
break them, huh?
sorry.
I see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
I'm gonna cry every time someone says something to me about it. My kids, like, whenever when they come in and they'll say something, I'm like, you got, literally, please
Stop.
stop, you're gonna make me start bawling right now, and we need to get stuff done.
That was me, I told me, I got on the floor and did push-ups.
Back home.
Holistic questions about the district and smart boards that I might be able to answer or might not, and you know.
Why don't you just answer, we can get a subscription and then.
Correct, correct. And I think as we're moving this, you know, I explored Promethean, ViewSonic, Clear, and Smart. Part of the reason we're more trialing Smart now is number one, they're in the buildings, so I would like us to get more consistent so we can do stuff like this, so we can share with each other, right? Also, the learning software, the SLSO system, is so much more advanced and comprehensive than those other three, right?